Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I am your host, Ty Christensen. And they stored her naked body in garbage bags, huh?
You quoted it wrong. He said, this is where they found Kate's naked body, wrapped up in garbage bags.
Wrapped up in garbage bags.
So good. Wrapped up in garbage bags.
We've got Jordan Christensen on the pod.
You said a good cop... No, she doesn't say that?
No.
Okay, I'll start over. A good cop can't sleep because he's missing a piece of the puzzle. And a bad cop can't sleep because his conscience won't let him.
And she said later she says, you said that. And he's like, I did.
And we've got Cameron Mickle on the pod.
This guy crossed the line and didn't even blink.
And we have Nick.
Oh, I can't wait to see what they have for dessert. When they were in the shop with the halibuts. I also liked Too Late for Yesterday, Too Early for Tomorrow. I like that one too.
All right, today we are discussing Insomnia. This movie came out in 2002, directed and written by Christopher Nolan, also written by Hilary Stites, the screenplay, and Nicolas Frobenius. Wow, how about that? This movie stars Al Pacino, I can't believe it, and Robin Williams, right? Holy cow. Martin Donovan, Hilary Swank.
And when you started to hear the voice, Ty, through the phone, did you know right away it was Robin Williams? How long did it take you to figure that out?
I think the worst part about this movie is that in the beginning, all the names appear before the movie. So the first time I saw it, it was in St. George with you and Maddie and Dad. And I was thinking, Robin Williams is going to be in this movie, because they literally had his name at the beginning. That's why I try to not pay attention to that. Like, if I can skip the intro credits, I don't want to know the actors in a movie. If it's a first-time watch, especially when the actor showing up is kind of the part of the surprise. So
yeah, it's kind of like Kiefer Sutherland being the voice of a phone booth. It's like, what?
Yeah, no, unmistakable voice. Probably because it was such a 24 head. So, but also stars Paul Dooley, Nikki Cat, Larry Holden, Jay Brazo, and a few other, James Hutchinson.
More people you'll never remember.
And so let's get right into this movie, shall we? What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast? Let's start with you, Nick.
Oh, man. So the first time I watched it, I have to be honest, I remember not being too amazed by it. In fact, I was kind of bored. The second time watching it,
which is crazy, because aren't you like a big fan of, what's that not serial killer TV show, but the one where they catch serial killers and stuff?
Criminal Minds, or what do you?
Criminal Minds.
Here's the thing, it was a good movie, don't get me wrong, and we'll get more into that later. However, it was very slow. There was parts that were just dragged out, and I'm just like the car ride at the end. What was that scene, like 10 minutes? I'm like, I didn't, but then the second time watching it, which was just recently, and I actually watch it always 2 times for the pads, so technically I watched it 3 times. Second time watching it, same emotion. However, the third time watching it, I started to like it a little bit more. And I don't know why. I think there was just things that maybe I caught that I didn't see the first 2 times because I was so bored, and actually paid attention this third time, and I liked it a little bit more. So, yeah, that's... Did you want more?
Yeah, Ty, you're just like stone-faced right now, Ty.
I know, it's just, you literally hung and you're like, so, I thought you were about to say something else, and then you're like, do I need to say more?
Yeah.
I was waiting for you. It sounded like you were in the middle.
No, it flew away.
What
like
else,
my attention
Nick?
in this movie.
No, but Nick, don't just tell us about the next time you watched it. What was it like? Tell us more. I'm trying to quote Jack Nicholson in Anger Management. Not your name. Tell us who you are.
Yeah.
I don't know what you freaking want from me, man.
Who are you?
Yeah. Who are you? Yeah. Well,
No,
I do
not
this for
what you
Not
do.
what you do for work. Who are you? It just keeps going. It's so annoying. Okay, so Cameron, how about you? What was it like watching the movie for the first time and rewatching it?
So I think this was probably the last Christopher Nolan movie I saw. And so this was the last Christopher Nolan movie I think I saw of his, besides I haven't seen The Following yet. But I told Jordan it was actually my least favorite Christopher Nolan movie the first time I watched it. which is funny because I still gave it an 8 out of 10, but it was still my least favorite. Shows you how good of a director he is. But then rewatching it for the pod, because I watched it the first time like I think 3 years ago, and rewatching for the pod, I just loved it. I bumped it back up into my top 100 and finished with like a 9 out of 10. I just really enjoyed it on the second time. I love Al Pacino. He's so freaking amazing.
Yes.
And Robin Williams is great as well. And I really like, what's her name?
What is her name? They debate on The Office if she's beautiful or not.
Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank.
Yeah, she's super good in this. And I love how she's kind of like the by the books, like super hard worker, like does all the dirty work and it like pays off in the end, sort of.
Dirty work, you mean like the work that nobody else wants to do by the books?
Yeah.
I just assume when you said like does all the dirty work, I guess, is that the common phrase for it? For some reason I keep thinking like, because this movie involves dirty cops a lot. So I was just curious. I was like, wait, she's the good one though, right? Yeah. The very good one. Straight-laced Boy Scout. That's the one I'm thinking of. Kind of like your Jake Gyllenhaal in Zodiac, you know? Little Boy Scout.
Yep.
Hey, Cameron, it's just like
man.
Zodiac, maybe even better.
Yeah, this movie's probably better than Zodiac.
Again, in your dreams.
What?
Yeah, thank you,
No,
Nick.
that's not even close to true. Nah,
Honestly, I don't know if I like this one better than Zodiac.
How could
yeah,
you?
I
No,
don't know.
Zodiac was
Yeah, Zodiac's way better.
Yeah, definitely way better.
This movie was great. So
Dude,
I watched
Zodiac's
this
like
the first
slow
time.
as crap film, and it's still way
It
better than this.
is. It's very slow, but it keeps you guessing. The second you
Yeah,
hear Robin
for
Williams
sure.
come on the phone, I'm like,
Are you not a big Robin Williams
no,
fan?
I'm a
Nick?
huge Robin Williams fan. I just have trouble seeing him in that type of role. And don't get me wrong, he did a
sure.
great job. But every time I hear Robin Williams' voice, I think Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm like, is she gonna pop out somewhere? Like where is she at? And he played another role, wasn't it? Like where he was like a film developer or something. He was creepy in that one. That was a creepy movie, and I just
What was that one? Polaroid? Or what was that
1 hour
movie? I'm
photo
trying-
or something?
1 hour photo,
yeah.
That
I
was
just
the one.
That's just kind of funny because that's why it was fun watching Insomnia, because I've been on a Robin Williams binge. I've been watching, I watched Dead Poets Society, Insomnia, Good Will Hunting, and Miss Doubtfire all in the past month.
Jeez. It's hard to see someone so sweet, and bless his heart, rest in peace, Robin Williams. He was such a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, amazing.
And it's so weird to see him in this role where he's so disturbing.
Talk about hilarious too. Oh my gosh, funny.
Maybe not in this
No,
movie,
not
but
in this
yeah,
movie.
in the other movies.
it's very dry in
No,
this
yeah.
movie.
The first time I watched this was St. George with most of my family, and Jordan showed us all, and he was obsessed with this movie. And I watched it, and I did enjoy it the first time, but I remember thinking it was pretty bleak, and I didn't like it as much. I remember thinking like, oh, it was good, but I don't think it's a rewatchable Christopher Nolan film. But after watching it again for the podcast, I did forget about a lot of it. In fact, I forgot about most of the what I would call the dirty deeds that the detective Al Pacino does. It really upset me, in fact, on this rewatch, because pretty messed up. So I was pretty shocked. I was horrified because there was a lot more tampering with evidence and lengths he was willing to go to clear his name, and to the ends justify the means. You decide. So, Jordan, how about you? What was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for the pod?
Well, and I loved, just really quick, Ty, when I got your text, you're just like, this movie is amazing. I loved that text about Insomnia, right? Didn't you say it was something?
Yeah, I was surprised that watching it again, like I said, I'd forgotten so much about it. Because sometimes it's like, well, I know who the villain is, I know what happens, but I've still missed a lot of things after the first viewing, for sure. That usually happens in detective movies. You're like, oh, I don't need to see it again. And then you wait a few years, and then you go back, and you're like, I don't remember this movie at all.
Yeah.
Like, I know Robin Williams is the villain. That's it. And then you watch it, and you're like, whoa, Al Pacino's the villain.
You're just like, Cameron, have you seen this? This is so freaking good. Yeah, so that was a good response. I wanted to say, first time, I absolutely loved it. I cried at the end because the whole idea when she was about to throw the little bullet casing into the water, and then he's like, no, don't lose your way. Like, I lost it right there, because the idea that, like, because I deal with, moral scrupulosity and scrupulosis, just constantly thinking, feeling guilty about everything and every decision I make. And so I love that when he says, don't lose your way. Very good, powerful. And then I was like, everybody needs to watch this movie. And I was on a Christopher Nolan binge, so I was just going through all his movies, and I was going through each director. And so I absolutely love this one. I thought it was so much fun, because I didn't catch that at the beginning, Ty, seeing Robin Williams' name. So when I heard the voice, I'm like, is that Robin Williams? And it wasn't until I saw his face that I was like, oh my gosh, it is. And it was really fun. And rewatching for the podcast, I absolutely love this movie, and I am obsessed with Al Pacino. So okay,
Thanks for your comment.
yeah.
I didn't know that the ending was a cryable moment, but I hear that though.
Yeah, dude.
And do we think he shot Hap on purpose?
Oh yes, can we get into that, Ty?
Yeah, we should get into that.
Yeah, let's have another debate. Let's make this as debatable as it comes at night. Let's hash it out. I think it was an accident purely, but obviously after considering it, he probably was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, he lucked out.
You know,
he's like, I can make this work for myself.
Yeah,
I can
yes.
spin this whole. The bad guy already shot one cop. I think that's exactly what happened. It was an accident. Didn't see, but boom, that one moment, he was like free and clear.
Because that's the thing. Like once he goes up to him and he's like, "You shot me," and he was like, "No, like I couldn't see the fog." And
That was
then
genuine.
Immediately after and then he started like devising a plot where he's like, "I'm going to frame this guy for murder. It's going to be okay."
See, I thought he did it
on
on accident, and then afterwards he was just like covering his own tracks, as into where he thought that like it would somehow get pinned on him, so he just he just did it to defend his own. But I didn't think he was trying to take advantage of the system. But that's pretty smart.
Well, no, and you're right. It was to cover his own tracks, right? Because there was a lot of other cases hinging on this one, right? And his
The whole
behavior,
thing
'cause
was he couldn't get
internal
he couldn't
investigator.
get caught for that. Yeah, because if there was even an accident, they would have been like, nah, accident, really? No, you shot him.
Yeah, it's really suspicious
He was
of the
gonna turn you
timing.
in.
Yeah, especially because his partner was actually going to take a plea deal about all the other cases they had fabricated and lied about and planted evidence for. So really bad, because this is like, his accomplice, he saw an opportunity to take out his, someone that's going to testify against him, basically. So, and set free all the criminals they had put away unjustly.
Super good ethical
Intense.
dilemma. I think I think this is one.
Yes.
One of the best parts about the movie is just like hinging on that point of like what there, because there really isn't a true correct. It's kind of the same thing with the ending of Gone Baby Gone, spoiler alert, of just like deciding whether like what is the right thing to do. Do you like take this kidnapped girl back to her like druggy mom, or do you leave her with like the kidnappers who treat her really well and like love her and provide?
Love it. So Cameron, actually the question I think is more burning is, do you think Hilary Swank should turn in the evidence that would incriminate Al Pacino or not? The noble lie. What do you
After
guys think?
he's
It's
dead,
so funny
after
to see
he's
this.
dead, no.
This is like before Dark Knight. I just think it's so cool that he did the noble lie in this movie too. I'm like, dude, Christopher Nolan must love the noble lie.
Especially because of the
swears by
fact,
it.
I think if he would have told her to throw it away, I think she couldn't have lived with herself, and she would have had to. But the fact that he told her not to, I think shows the type of man that he truly was. And she even says that. She says, "I know you're a good man, even if you don't believe that or if you've forgotten that." And so I think it truly shows that he is a good man, like deep down. So I think, his dying wish was for her not to lose her way, which I mean.
So what do you think she does?
She doesn't turn
she does
it in.
as a
I don't
character.
think she does.
I
Really?
Yeah, I don't think she does, because I don't think that's necessarily losing her way.
There's so many people that are gonna get
Interesting,
hurt by her doing it. I mean, he's dead. They're not even. I mean, how are they gonna absolutely prove it? Can they? I mean.
Yeah, and it's one of those hard things
that's
where
surprising to hear you guys say that. I would think that she would do it. That's what I think she does do, and whether or not I think that's the right choice is different, right?
I think she thinks. I think she
does
thinks
do
about
it.
like all these people. I don't know. I think that just creates more trouble than anything.
It definitely technically does, but in the end, I also watched. This is like How to Make a Murderer, Stephen Avery. It's like, do I believe that he didn't kill Teresa Palmer? No. I think he did.
No, he did not kill her. No,
he killed
it was her.
Definitely
It was
her.
that other dude. It was the cousin,
The boyfriend?
Brendan. Dad.
No, he probably.
It was the other.
Not Brandon.
Not Brendan.
The other brother. Yes.
The weird
yes,
guy.
The other psychotic.
Yeah. Because that guy had all the
I
stuff.
do believe that he was an accomplice for sure, but I definitely think that it definitely happened in that family, and I think it was Steve Avery and that cousin, not Brendan. Brendan Dassey is
he is innocent. He
but
didn't do nothing.
the cops still planted evidence, which was
They did
terrifying.
plant evidence,
See, again,
but he didn't do it.
So the only reason I dragged Steve Avery into this is just because it's terrifying when police plant evidence, and I don't think that that's ever it's never.
Mr. Avery,
That's
if you
just
ever
wrong.
hear this pod, I don't think you did it. You didn't do it. I know you didn't do it.
Hashtag free
Yeah,
Avery.
hashtag free Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey, because they were screwed.
Brandon Dassey, Steve Avery,
They were
no.
screwed. They were screwed. It was the cousin. What is his name? Brandon or whatever?
I think
Psychopath.
it might be Brandon, yeah.
Well, I hope he
something
does
like
listen
that,
to this. You're a psychopath. Sick. So many choice words.
but-
I got
You're
so
gonna
many
hear,
choice
folks,
words
Nick's
for you.
hot take. All right. So sorry about that tangent, folks. So back to Insomnia. Jordan, what did you weigh on this? What do you think she does? What does Hilary Swank do?
Well, I totally thought that's interesting that Cameron and Nick are both that she doesn't. I agree that I don't think she should. Well, I don't know if she should because
There is no right answer.
yeah. Well, there is.
No,
I mean,
but I think it's interesting discussion.
it eats away at your conscience. I thought she was
Yes.
going to do it because he stopped her and said, "Don't lose your way. Like you need to, turn this in because otherwise it'll eat away at you." And then it's like, where do you draw the line, and how much further will you go to cover up more evidence and
I
stuff?
guess that is true.
Yeah, see, that's what I think. Because again, he says, do they actually say it's slippery slope or not? He says you lose your way.
Yeah,
but
you lose your way.
You lose your way, and honestly, that's what it is, right? Because at the very beginning, it's almost sad when he shoots his partner because you think like, okay, he's going to be fine because this was a complete accident, and then his partner first thought he was like in horror. He's like, you shot me, like, and he was like, is this because like of the discussion we had before dinner and like. Where he basically said, I'm going to testify, I'm going to take this plea deal. And it's terrifying because I don't think that was occurring to Al Pacino at this point. But what's terrifying is that he knows he's willing to plant evidence, and so he doesn't put it beneath his character. He believes he did it for that reason, which is really sad. That speaks a lot about their partnership. He's like, I've seen you commit crime before. What's to say you would stop me, to stop this from happening now? It's really sad.
Well, I watched this with Clinton, and he thought he was like purposely shot him. He's like, he switched guns. He clearly shot him, but
Yes,
it was because
guys.
he ran out of bullets, though.
Oh, did he?
Or the
run-
gun
Yeah,
jammed.
because
One
if
of
you
the
watch,
two,
for sure.
it jammed.
Or
Yeah,
one of the two. Either
yeah,
ran out of
'cause-
bullets or jammed. It didn't work either way.
Yeah, no, because I watched it this time and I almost missed that, but I did catch that he did change the gun. I definitely saw that, and I was like, he's got a different gun. It's
And
like,
then,
this is the
and then
gun
Hilary
for
Swank later
swift
grabs
justice.
his butt. Not sexually, but to make sure
Yeah,
that he has a second pistol.
And I think she felt
I
it,
thought
right?
that
She
was so
saw
good.
it.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
she
that
felt
was
the
the
gun.
confirmation that it was like it was
She
him.
knew. She knew right then and there.
Okay, talk about a
Her
completely
suspicion.
different movie if he survives. If that guy survives, holy shiz.
Who? Al Pacino?
No,
Robin Williams?
no, the guy what's
The
his
partner.
name?
Partner,
Yeah.
Oh, the partner?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's over because he's like, he shot me, and now you have this whole law. Like that's a whole. He just freaking dies, and you're like, I guess you kind of dodged a bullet there by making this bullet its mark. That didn't make much sense. You dodged a bullet by hitting the bullet. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like I said, I don't know what the right thing to do is. I just think the best thing to do would be to stick to being the Girl Scout, the Boy Scout, whatever. Do the right thing, which is turn in the evidence. I hate it because I don't like the idea of criminals going free. But
Especially
in the end,
Eddie.
the law was broken in the first place.
Especially Eddie.
Yeah, especially Eddie.
Yeah. Ty, I thought of Nick. I thought of Paradise PD when Ty said dodged a bullet, like the part where they grab the chick and use her as a body shield, and they're like getting shot at, and she's getting obliterated. I was just thinking about that. Grabbed his partner, threw him in front of the bullet.
Nice. Reminds me of Invincible. That happens a little bit too.
We
all
gotta
right,
talk about that too. Oh my goodness.
Oh
Jeez.
yes.
I
Did you watch
I did
Invincible?
watch
Nick?
it.
Yeah, we'll
It's
talk
a
about it
great
at the
show.
end for sure.
Yeah. But don't spoil it. I've only gotten for the first 5
That's all I've gotten
episodes,
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh, there you go. Perfect. So I love that discussion, but let's go around and say 2 of our favorite things from this movie. Let's start with you, Cameron.
I always love movies, especially with either serial killers, psychopaths, or like people that that struggle like mentally or whatever. I love like how directors portray that. Like I think it's super interesting to always see that directors have different points of view of like doing that, because like the final the scene that Nick mentioned, like the forever car scene driving, it reminded me a lot of the final driving scene in Prisoners, where Jake Gyllenhaal's got like the bloody face and like the rain and then like the windshield wipers, and you're just so stressed because you're just like, it's such a simple task, but you're like, freaking just drive, man, like just make it there.
It's been 6 days since you slept.
Yeah.
So you're like, you're going to fall asleep at the wheel and you're seeing things.
And
you
I
know?
always appreciate it when one of my favorite things that like directors will do, sometimes Quentin will do it, or Dennis Villeneuve does it a lot. of just like throwing in like a random image every once in a while, and I'm like,
Yeah.
did I just like blink really weird, or like what the fudge did I just see? And he does it a lot in this movie. And then Robin Williams even mentions it to him. He's like, "You're seeing images, aren't you?" And like flashes and stuff like that. I was like, holy cow.
Which I love, by the way, that it's just want to add the image that you keep seeing. I keep thinking it's the murderer, that creepy, like rubbing the gloved hands on the fabric, trying to wash out the blood.
Yeah.
I
Then
kept
you
thinking that was Robin Williams the whole movie. I'm like, oh, what a sick sadistic. And then you find out it's freaking Al
him
Pacino.
planting
You're
evidence.
like, that's when he's planting evidence and trying to cover up his tracks. And I'm like, oh, that's so messed up.
Yeah, and I think that's cool because I think that's why honestly, like the movie kind of supports you and yours and Jordan's theory more of that she will turn him in, just because like he saw like and knew how much like losing your path like affected you, because it haunted him to like every day. So he's like not wanting that same pain on her. But
and that's so sad too. In the confession time where he says that, right? He goes, "I knew as I kept." He said so many great things, but basically it was just like, it wasn't me. Like I realized I kept doing this thing, and I can't even remember his confession. It was so good, but I wouldn't do it justice. But I love that, Cameron. Yeah, he bears it all. He's like, don't do this.
Yeah,
because
and then
it's wrong.
obviously the moral dilemma is amazing, but I think my second favorite thing is definitely the chess game. I always enjoy, like, I mean, I really enjoy like a good action fight of like a Bane versus Batman.
Wild card.
But like I really love it when people are trying to like. I love it when.
Sorry, I couldn't help but think of Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Charlie Day, dude. Sorry, but anyway.
But I just love it when people are like trying to outsmart each other, and then it's like that passive aggression of like, I'm gonna dominate you, and that's what I love is later Robin Williams reveals he's like, I knew you had a wild card because you agreed to do it before I even had like the blackmail on you, and you're like, sheesh, dude.
Robin
Oh my
Williams
gosh.
was
Yes.
clearly ahead, you know, and
He was four steps ahead of him the whole time.
Exactly, but it was kind of bad because Al Pacino wasn't sleeping. He didn't sleep for days. I mean, that was part of it. Like,
and I think that's cool is that he was always ahead of Al Pacino, but the only one who caught him off guard was the girl,
Right?
Because like he didn't expect her to come because he thought
Right.
the case was
But
closed.
Obviously, this accidental shooting of his partner is exacerbated by everything else weighing on this single case. But if that never happened, like, he would have just planted the evidence and got Robin Williams. It would have been such a cinch. But he has to pin this on Robin Williams, but also let the other kid take the fall so Robin Williams can go free. It's bonkers, guys. Like, that's what happens in this movie. Like, because remember, they're going to pin it on the high schooler.
Oh yeah, we probably should read a plot synopsis.
Yeah, for people that haven't seen it, yes. Two Los Angeles homicide detectives are dispatched to a northern town in Alaska where the sun doesn't set to investigate the methodical murder of a local teen. But sorry, Karen, I interrupted your two favorite things. You want to finish your thought?
No, just I just really enjoy like how he portrays kind of him losing his like sanity with sleep, because I watched like a couple videos like a couple months ago about like the effects of not getting enough sleep or whatever, and it's ridiculous how important sleep is to the body. Like motor functions and just like bodily functions just start like shutting down without sleep. It's just like, yeah, we give up. And you're like, oh my gosh.
Shutting down. No. Oh, man. All right. How about you, Nick? Two of your favorite things from this movie.
well, number one, that there was a character in there named Charlie Bubbles. Okay, that last name, Bubbles, it got me thinking. I'm like, that just brought a little joy to my life. Like, such a dark movie, but yet I hear that and it kind of put a smile on my face.
Was Charlie Bubbles the detective?
He was the main
hey,
guy.
Hurry up! I'm freezing my.
He was the
main.
main. He was the chief officer, the main officer, or something. There when he walked in, he's like Charlie Bubbles, and I'm like, great. And I almost thought about like, what if I had a daughter and named her Bubbles? Just the joy that would bring me. No, I like the back and forth, like kind of like the chess game as you were saying, but just between Al Pacino and Robin Williams, like that first phone call that he got. I'm like, that's what started it right there. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be kind of interesting. This back and forth between them, and it didn't let down. I mean, that was the only part of the movie that I actually liked is when they were together. All the rest was kind of okay, but when they were talking together, that was a good part. And I just like watching Al Pacino's just slow demise downward. It's just like every day you see him a little more tired, a little more weak, a little more crazy. And I don't know, I just like, it was kind of cool how they just slowly kind of just brought him down.
Yeah, talk about the perfect person to act crazy, dude. Al
Right,
Pacino.
right.
Also, holy fudge, dude! That bartender, who's also the mom in Yes Man, or no, Liar Liar, dude. She's a babe.
My wife?
Dude, she can get it.
I'm not even sure what you mean by that.
Yeah, me either.
Your second favorite thing, Nick?
That was my second favorite thing.
Perfect. Jordan, how about you? Two of your favorite things?
Yeah, kind of going along, and I have a few comments too. Cameron said it reminds you of Heat. Well, the scene where the guy was walking and they had the up on Robin Williams and they were sneaking up on him, and then the guy accidentally hits the microphone. Totally reminds me of Heat. It's hilarious because it's Al Pacino again working with incompetent cops. So it's just funny that happened once again.
Justice, the head guy got shot in the leg. Fetching, he's the reason that all of this crap happened.
Yeah, so it's just that, and then also going along with what Nick was saying, kind of their banter back and forth. I love that there's, like, Christopher Nolan doesn't treat you dumb. He treats you, just puts in lots of little Easter eggs, and I love the attention to those little details that show that he doesn't treat us like we're dumb, and he also, for anybody that knows what serial killers do, because, like, paranoid people, if you catch it, there's a little piece of paper in the door that fell and hit the floor. That's why Robin Williams didn't reach the door, because he saw the piece of paper on the ground. If you remember that, Nick, in our law class when we were learning about serial killers, do you remember?
Yeah, but
talking
Robin
about
Williams really isn't a serial killer. He only killed one person, at least that we know of.
Well, but he's a paranoid person, so it's just
He is a little paranoid.
yeah. So
The
he
fact
just
of him being so calm after murdering a human being is a little,
It is a little
unsettling.
unsettling. But you know what? I think he did a good job. I think throughout the movie, at times, kind of making you wonder, like, what does he mean? Like, he didn't mean to do it. You know, I started to kind of believe him. I'm like, oh, maybe it was an accident. And then when he actually, explained it, I was like, no, man, that means you have problems. You have,
Yeah, it doesn't. It might have been an accident in the moment, but you were planning to do something just as bad, or if not, like what's it called, her or something. like that.
just the fact that he was hanging out with a 17-year-old, that's automatic. No. I mean, he's like what, 30, 40
creep
in that movie. He should have known that was not in no case going to end well ever.
Yeah, and then my second, so those are just comments on your guys' things, but my favorite, kind of going off of that, is just...
Oh, four favorite things.
No, I didn't say any yet. Well, the details, obviously, Christopher Nolan's style, I love in his movies, he's always making things more morally ambiguous, and you gotta... he loves to focus in the gray area of the really hard questions and things. Like Nick said, I was actually on Robin Williams' side the first time I watched it. I was like, but not until the end when like Nick says, once he describes how he killed the girl, I'm like, oh yeah, something's wrong with him. But at the same time, he keeps like questioning him in his decisions, and it's like, oh, but you killed your partner, and he was like making him, like, how am I any different than you? And so it's just so interesting. I saw you pull out your gun and shoot your partner, and then I saw him scared of you. Why was he scared of you? It's so good. I just love that stuff. And gosh dang, if he can create an amazing atmosphere, this whole film just... Oh, and another detail, Nick, I don't remember if you remember, but in our woods class, remember when we learned about the people that ride logs down rivers, and they said a lot of them drowned or are killed because the logs will actually crush them.
Right.
And so that scene where he falls in the water and he's trying to get up for a breath of air, and they're smashing together, like he would have been killed if he had lifted his head up out of that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I just thought little details like that are so good. He doesn't sit there and tell us, like, like it's dangerous to be there. Like, I guess it's maybe visually obvious, but
he doesn't need some construction worker to be like, hey, that's dangerous. You're just like, you can tell of him almost dying like 30 times, like just trying to get over the water. Can we just adjust that or address that? Freaking Robin Williams is like a track star. Oh my gosh, dude, he's nimble as crap on those wood
He was
logs.
quick, but he also, wasn't 3 or 4 days out without sleeping. I mean, Pacino he should have saw that. He's like, there's no way I'm going to make it across this. I'm tired. I'm weak.
And just some of the shots in the movie, like the opening shot of like with the ice, it's so beautiful. I was like, what movie am I watching?
Yeah, Alaska, pretty cool place.
Number 2.
Nick, did you already say your two favorite things, right?
I wasn't kidding about that Charlie Bubbles thing. That is definitely one of my favorite things about this movie.
And then nitpicks, Nick?
I got a couple nitpicks. It was kind of drawn out.
Yeah, I think it's definitely probably one of Christopher Nolan's slowest movies. I think probably similar to Dunkirk. but just kind of like a slow and a little bit of darker theme. So it's not like definitely not one of his most popular.
When I think of Christopher Nolan, I was thinking Memento, and I was thinking
Inception,
I was
Interstellar.
thinking this was going to be something
Dark Knight.
good like that.
Yeah.
Just
Whatever. This is my favorite of his.
really? I don't.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, Al Pacino? Are you kidding me?
No, there's no doubt that the characters were great, and the actors that played those characters are also great. All Oscar winners. So.
Do we have any favorite quotes? I think we said most of them.
We said some in the beginning, right? Yeah.
I loved it when he was talking to him. He's like, "You don't get it, do you, Finch?" He's like, "You're my job. You're what I'm paid to do. You're about as mysterious to me as a blocked toilet is to a freaking plumber. Reasons for doing what you did? Who gives a frick?"
That's a good one.
Yeah, and we already mentioned it, but I loved what Cameron told me when he watched it on the airplane, and you said you lifted up the little thing to look out the window. What was it?
Yeah, I was on the airplane when I was watching the second time for the pod, and I like pulled down the window a little bit, and I just like the light just hit me so bright because it'd been dark like for a couple hours, and I felt like Al Pacino. I was like, my fucking eyes are burning, and that's why the entire film, like I just feel so bad for him. You just like that's what Christopher Nolan does such a good job of using light and just like making you hate it. And I love it. Like the first time they introduce you to that concept is when he's like, is the boy in school? Let's go. It's like, I want to surprise him right now. And they're like, it's 10 o'clock. And he's like, okay, at night. And he's like, oh. And you're like, you as a viewer, you're like, what the fudge? It's 10 o'clock at night? Like, it's so bright outside. And that's got to be such a tough way to live.
Oh, yeah.
Did you think of the best 2 years, Cameron, when he kept saying, you're going to write that down?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's funny.
Elder Calhoun. Should I write that down? You don't have to write everything down. Should I write that down?
I like that. I wonder what came first. I'd have to check when that was released. Should we get into
Insomnia definitely came first.
Yeah, and this is based off of a foreign film, right?
It is. It's a remake of an Australian film or something?
It was 2 years after.
Norwegian.
Yeah, Norwegian. That sounds right. Yeah, because it's like kind of in the
From
ice scapes.
I remember seeing it. It's from 1997 or 96 or something like that. 97, I think.
You watched the foreign version?
No, I just know that this was based off of a foreign movie. And then I looked that foreign movie up because a lot of people, some people that I had talked to about this said that the foreign one was better.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I started the foreign one and I fell asleep, so I
didn't watch it, so and this one almost put me to sleep, so I'm guessing that one absolutely would.
Hey, but we got you to talk about I Saw the Devil on the podcast. So
that was probably one of my favorite.
Yeah, which is funny because that's a foreign film.
That was the only foreign film you're ever gonna really get me to probably enjoy.
Yeah, then so do we recommend this movie? I think so.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I recommend obviously to people that are more sensitive to serial killer stuff to watch it edited, but
edited.
I mean, I know
you don't need to edit anything out of this movie. There's nothing to edit out of this. This is pretty,
What are you talking about? If you don't like seeing dead bodies,
guys,
like,
we've watched a lot worse. Like I Saw the Devil. Okay, once you see stuff like that and the walrus and all this crap, this movie is. No, you don't need to watch it edited. There's nothing to edit out.
Okay, Nick, we always end the podcast with movies you've seen lately and movies you're looking forward to.
Well, you know what? I haven't really watched any movies, but I did watch Invincible on your guys' recommendation. And, I was like really pumped about the end because you guys kept talking about the end. Wait till you see the end. I'm like, oh, what's going to happen at the end? Got really excited. And I was like, okay, trying to come up with all of these things that would happen at the end of that first episode. And I was shocked still. I didn't see that coming. I really did not see that. I'm like, what the just happened?
You cannot predict it.
No.
Like you're like the entire like first 45 minutes of like the 48-minute episode is like PG.
Yeah.
And then it's just like hits you with just the most gore ever. You're like, what the fuck?
I know. And I've just been on a TV show kick. Everyone watch other movies. Chernobyl.
Did you start it?
I'm quite a ways through it actually, but
it's disturbing but amazing,
very
right?
good. I had it recommended. A lot of people recommend, like, have you seen Chernobyl yet? I'm like, I have not. I was thinking that one the actual movie that was made, and maybe with the same name, that was
Chernobyl Diaries.
Was that like the Hills Have Eyes type of?
Yeah, the horror movie.
Yeah, that's what I was like, wait a minute. No, I didn't want to see it. Yeah, no. This is good though. This show is good. So anybody out there that hasn't seen it, watch it. It's crazy.
Just kind of exposes Russia as a country.
Communism.
Yeah, or communism. Yeah, the Soviet Union exposes.
And I don't really have anything that I'm too excited to see, man. Just been really busy, so, not too much time for movies.
Anything you're looking forward to, Nick?
No, I don't think so. Should I? You always give me recommendations. I haven't gotten any from you, Jordan.
Well, maybe finishing Invincible and finishing Chernobyl, because they're fetching amazing.
I'm going to finish those, of course. Do you have any other recommendations?
I don't know. Did you watch Godzilla vs. Kong yet?
No, I've been watching Chernobyl.
Well, I know. You're watching amazing masterpieces.
You recommended that to me the same time
Nick, have you seen
Chernobyl.
Nick, have you seen Goodfellas?
I have, of course I've seen Goodfellas. Oh my.
Okay, good.
Goodfellas and Casino, yes. I've seen those movies probably a dozen times apiece. I absolutely love those two movies. Yeah.
They're so
They
good.
are really good.
All right, Kim, you want to go through what you've watched too?
Yeah. Recently I've kind of similar to Nick, I haven't had a whole lot of time to watch stuff. Okay, so I watched Tom Clancy's Without Remorse.
Oh, I did see that.
You watch it?
I did watch that. Yeah, I forgot about that. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. I was a little disappointed just because I felt like it had a lot more potential, and I felt like the plot was a little all over the place. Michael B. Jordan does a good job, but I don't know. I didn't think that the super skinny woman captain was very plausible for like SEAL Team 6, but I was like, all right, whatever.
Sometimes I like just mindless action movies, and that was kind of one of them.
Yeah. I watched Dead Poets Society for the first time. Holy cow. So amazing. Robin Williams again. Like, oh, it's so depressing as shiz. I mean, oh, freak. But. And then I watched Goodfellas with Jordan. I watched it. I split it up into 3 different watches because somebody wanted to go watch movies with his girlfriend. So I had to freaking break it up twice. And so I eventually finished it like on the 3rd time by myself. But holy cow. Also kind of a depressing. It kind of reminds me of Wolf of Wall Street, of just showing the consequences of living that life and how like you can never really get out scot-free. There's like, it'll always come back to bite you. But so amazing. But holy cow.
Have you guys
talk about brutal?
Have you guys seen Synchronic yet?
Yes.
Yeah. We actually did that in the pod.
Did you?
Yeah. You like it?
Oh man, I to be honest with you, I fell asleep halfway through it. So the only time I ever have to really watch movies is late at night, and late at night I'm tired. So, but is it good? Should I replay it?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting. I love the idea. It's like a really cool take on time travel. But yeah, you just gotta like once it hits like 45 or 50 minutes in, then it kind of starts to pick up, and then it's like really good.
Yeah, see,
it's
I
just
have
kind of
like
slow,
ADD
it's kind of a slow
or ADHD. Like my attention span is about 4 minutes. If you don't grab me in 4 minutes, you lost me.
Yeah, I feel that.
Just point out everybody to the pod. Ty poofed away. I don't even see him leave. Just staring at his blank white chair with the 4 holes in it.
Nick, you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, guys, check us out on Oxit. Okay, so download Oxit from the App Store and type in sneakers and streetwear. Go ahead, find us there. It's a sneaker community. We're really excited. It's a very small community right now. We got not very many members, but we're growing it. It's kind of new thing. So get us on there. We'll have all kinds of good shoes on there. We'll have all kinds of good chats on there. So if you're down with shoes, check us out. Oxit, what's up? I'm not talking about lame shoes. I'm talking about Dunks. I'm talking about Jordans. I'm talking about, like, if you want to be cool, the cool kid in town.
If you're trying to get the ladies.
Yeah, oh yeah. Especially if that lady knows shoes. She'd be like, oh, look at you swagging.
And what's the name of your website that people can find the shoes at?
MadtownResale.com, although that's still in progress, so go to Oxford first.
But yeah, I'm also looking forward to kind of want to watch The Godfather, even though it's got that 2 hour 55 minute run time. It's a little intimidating, but I'm gonna try to get her done. And also A Few Good Men and Top Gun. And I've also been really wanting to rewatch all the Rockies. I don't know why. I just feel like rewatching Rockies, feeling American.
Ooh, the Rockies.
Yeah, I am excited to see Guy Ritchie's making a new movie, and we're going to see it tomorrow, Cameron. I forgot to tell you.
The Wrath of Man.
Wrath of Man, baby.
You guys going to the theater and seeing that?
Oh, yeah.
It's got Jason Statham.
You guys got to wear masks still there?
You have to go in, yeah.
Good.
No.
Good.
I wish people should wear masks before, because movie theaters are gross, dude. Oh, my God.
No, I can't wait for masks to be gone.
Last time I was in a movie theater, I was really uncomfortable. There was like popcorn all over the floor. I was like, this place is gross. I gotta get out of here.
Oh my gosh.
Person up top was coughing.
So, little bit of technical errors makes me want to add this little thing at the end. I'm not sure exactly how
when you
much
say
of this was
technical
said.
errors, you mean baby pooped all over the wall? Very technical.
Yeah, very technical problems with the studio.
Sorry.
Yeah, I can still smell it. It's in my nasal cavities, permanently ingrained in there. It's in my fingernails.
It's like that episode of South Park. Every time he farts, just the poop particles go up his nose.
I don't know that one. I haven't watched enough South Park. So I wanted to add Insomnia, my favorite things, because I heard everyone else talking and I had to dip out real quick. But my two favorite things was I loved the police interrogation when Al Pacino and Robin Williams were there, and they had to allude that it was the high school boyfriend that abused Kay, and Al Pacino starts losing his cool because he starts realizing that it's slipping away from him and that he's actually going along with Robin Williams' story. And I think it starts to hurt him a little bit. So he starts to test him and he gets really upset with him, in fact, and he kind of goes off the handle and like, whoa, hey, you need to calm down. But I love that exchange where Robin Williams they had the debate about what piece of evidence they could plant, and he talks about the gun. Al Pacino was actually planning to still double cross him because he hid the gun in his grate, remember?
Yeah.
So he was willing to pretend that he was on his side, even though he had the recording. He was probably going to figure out how to get that recording away from him, but he planted the gun.
Yes, and I love how like clever he is and witty. He's like, I think he hid it in that grate.
Yes, and so Robin Williams says, Kay told me that her boyfriend abused her and hid it somewhere in like a grate, literally where he found the gun that Al Pacino had planted in his apartment. So he let Al Pacino know in that same instance that he found the gun and was trying to plant it on him. So that is an amazing scene because Robin Williams does discover that Al Pacino did try to double cross him. And it was a great moment of one-upsmanship that really raised the stakes of the whole movie, and that's why he does lose his cool, because in the back of his mind he thought, well, I'm still going to at least be able to nail Robin as the killer, Robin Williams as the killer, and not let it be pinned on this innocent boy, because it's not the boy that's the killer. He's just an angry boyfriend. Yes, he did abuse his girlfriend. He's a piece of scum, but he's not, in fact, the killer. So I love that scene. That's my favorite scene, and it really shifts the tide where you see Robin Williams really coming out as on top. Because, again, he had the recording that was the first thing where he's like, wild card, I recorded their conversation, which was pretty good.
Every time now that you say wild card, I'm thinking of freaking Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Wild card, please. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Charlie. And then they're all like, oh my gosh, I cut the brake. Yeah, he cut the brakes. Oh, the episode where they sell gasoline or whatever.
Yeah.
Out of an oil drum in their van. They like deliver gas to people. So funny. Gosh, I love that show. So yeah, I love that scene. That's my favorite thing. And then my second favorite thing was I almost love the motif of insomnia because it reminds me a lot of Vertigo.
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock. It's very reminiscent of that, where there is a debilitating physical ailment that is impeding our character, but it's actually represents the trauma that the person's dealing with. Like, if you think about it, like a sleepless night is if you're guilty conscience, and he doesn't actually experience any insomnia until after he shot his partner. So he actually gets there, but they allude to the fact that he's going to have a hard time sleeping. They foreshadow it because he's like, does it ever get dark here? It's like 10 o'clock at night, even though it's like, appears to be daytime. And he's like, I want to interview with the kids at the school. And he goes, let's go there now. And he goes, it's 10 o'clock at night here, detective. And he goes, oh, how did you not know that? You know, he was trying to play it off as like playful, and he's in his apartment, and the first night after he has that rough night with his detective partner, he's going to sell him out. It doesn't actually allude to him having any trouble sleeping, other than it was really bright. But it's then the next evening after he kills them, then the insomnia really kicks in because he's not getting any sleep. And then obviously, I love that Robin Williams also suffers with sleep because of a guilty conscience, and he's the one calling him at night saying like, hey, are you able to sleep? Me neither. It's just not. And the most disturbing scene is when Robin Williams is talking about how he ended up killing Kay, and then he was like, oh, it feels really good to talk about this. And Al Pacino is just disgusted at that point because he's telling him like, oh, it just feels good to talk about this. He's like, do you want to share? It's like it turned into like an AA meeting or 12-step program. Like, it's so disturbing, and I think that's when Al Pacino just hangs up the phone. And that was just a really great. So those were like two of my favorite things. And so at the very end, the motif of insomnia is he's now shot by Robin Williams and he's gonna die, and he's like, let me sleep. And he can finally feel at peace because he's told Hilary Swank's character to to turn the evidence in and not to become like him, and it's him freeing his conscience while he's now able to go to sleep. Well, he's actually dying, but he can now rest peacefully knowing that he's freed his conscience and he knows that Hilary Swank will do the right thing. That's why I think ultimately she did turn in the evidence, even though it sucks that these guys are going to go free now. You have to get them, lawfully, and Hilary Swank shouldn't go down that road where you start planting evidence now, it'll just deteriorate and be who you're becoming. And that was my favorite thing that he talked about. I wish I had it in quotes, but it was just the conversation where he's like, I didn't even know who I was. And when she comes to him, he goes, did you shoot him intentionally? And he goes, I don't know, maybe. And that's where it's like, did he mean to? I think he shot him on accident. But then immediately when he found out he shot his partner, it occurred to him, especially when he was horrified. He thought I shot him for the reason. And after a while, he goes, I was going to end up pawning it off like it was Robin Williams and blame him for the murder of my accidental shooting of my partner. So that was really good. Al Pacino and Martin Donovan, their relationship was really strained because of an accidental shooting that he was like, I can pin this off. It's just like all the other dirty cops. And then, like I said, the more despicable thing I never got to, my least favorite, my nitpick, is Al Pacino walking into a back alleyway and shooting a dog and digging out the bullet out of its guts. That was so messed up, dude. That was so messed up. And I forgot that the first time I watched it. I was like, that is fetching dark. So at the end of the movie, my nitpick, and well, it's not a nitpick, I'm just disappointed. Al Pacino is the villain, and Robin Williams is another villain. This movie, Hilary Swank is, I guess, the true good character or something. This is a really good movie. So kudos. It's one of those ones where The Noble Eye, like Dark Knight, that's the great one where they pin all the deaths on me. Harvey Dent will
Christopher
be clean
Nolan
and
loves
free.
that theme.
He loves The Noble Eye. And I think, and I love movies framed around this device because in the end, they're all different moral questions of a similar thing where it's like, if you let the truth out, there'll be people that get hurt. If you hide it and it's a lie, it's all fabricated in a lie, is that okay? And I think that's really interesting because, again, do the ends justify the means is a theme throughout the entire movie where you're like, at any minute, you could start being better. You could start doing better. Like, okay, catch this Robin Williams character, do it right by the books, and all the other ones, maybe they'll get free, maybe your reputation will suffer as a result, but do the right thing. And it was just too easy. He just kept seeing an opportunity in and out, and he was like, I'm going to do it this way, I'm going to do it this way. And then Robin Williams, he because he helps him agree that they're going to pin it on the boy, Robin Williams starts getting the upper hand when he finds the gun and was like, I got this. So that's a great scene. And then he mentions the dress, and the necklace, and that's why Pacino's like, yeah, you wanted to sleep with her, you sick bastard. And that's just a great scene because again, Al Pacino's disgusted that he's allowing this guy to even slip through his fingers and through justice. Like he's going to allow him to pin it on the boyfriend. So just a great scene, and I love all that. So I wanted to throw that in there.
And what have you seen lately, and what are you looking forward to?
So I've been watching Shadow and Bone. It's like it's like the newest dystopian future, but it's kind of more like Avatar meets any of the dystopian movies. It's pretty fun. There's like not shapeshifters. What am I thinking? Element benders,
Water
like
benders.
People water benders, fire benders, all those kinds of things. And there's like this big problem going on in the world, and there's a chosen one. It's reminiscent of like Harry Potter meets Twilight meets,
What was the Mount Olympia?
Avatar.
What was that one called? Percy Jackson.
Yeah, Percy Jackson. Yeah, it's kind of like all those. Avatar meets Percy Jackson meets Harry Potter meets Twilight. It's pretty much all those. It's pretty fun. I like it. It's just nice and refreshing to see an original content on Netflix. A new series, even though I'm not watching on a Netflix account that I paid for. But I'm very disappointed with Netflix. But it's a Netflix exclusive as far as I can tell. So, but yeah, it's Shadow and Bone. It's like the new. I mean, it was a book series, pretty successful book series, and I've been enjoying it so far. So if that sounds like your bread and butter, kind of a fantasy. Avatar meets Harry Potter, all the things I said. So it's pretty good.
And you can save your thoughts for Invincible because we're going to do that on the pod.
Yes, and of course I've been watching Invincible. It's a great show. Highly recommend it. I had a friend of mine, so I've watched the first 5 episodes, and I recommended my friend to watch it, and he has now since finished it. Started it after and finished before me. So he's one of those kinds of friends. He ate it up. So it is the kind of show that I'd recommend to others, and it's a lot of fun. So. It's very reminiscent of like, Spider-Man meets The Boys meets, I don't know, animated Justice League. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Oh, and Death Note. There's a lot of notes of Death Note, the cat and mouse detective work. So love it all. So it'll be fun to talk about that in better detail. So with spoilers when we review it on the podcast. Well, perfect. So those are my thoughts on Insomnia. I had to get that off my chest because now let me sleep. I can put this podcast and episode to rest. Let me sleep. Let me sleep.
All right, thanks for tuning in to Futro Hidden Movies Gems. Beep, beep. We're going to wrap it up. And thank you, everyone.
You can check us out
on
Spotify, YouTube. You can also check us out on Apple Podcasts and send us an email at futuromovies@gmail.com.
Futuromovies@gmail.com, folks.
Yeah, and we also do Futuro Quest if you guys like nerdy crap like us. We play D&D and I write stories.
I don't play in D&D and I know nothing about no stories, but...
Nick was on it, though, on episode 1. So.
Oh, yeah, but I died.
Yeah.
Like, right away. I was like this baller king, and I didn't even make it through the roll of 20 or whatever. That's apparently bad.
We will be seeing everybody later, I guess, on the next episode. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.